In Parshas Kedoshim, I'd like to focus on one pasuk that contains within it beautiful mitzvos that are so incredibly powerful, practical, applicable to our lives, that it can really make the difference in our ability to enjoy life. The pasuk says, "Lo sikom v'lo sitor as b'nei amecha v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Hashem." So, I think we could divide the pasuk into three parts. Lo sikom, do not take revenge. V'lo sitor, do not bear a grudge. Who shall you not take revenge against, and you should not bear a grudge against? As b'nei amecha, to your fellow Jews. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha is the third part of the pasuk. Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. You should love your neighbor as yourself. So out of these three parts of the pasuk, we're most familiar with the third part of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It's right now, during this period of Sfira, this period in which we're mourning the loss of the students of Rabbi Akiva because they did not have the proper kavod, the proper honor that they gave to each other. And they died because of it. 24,000 people. So Rashi comments here on the words of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Ama Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says, Zeh klal gadol b'Torah. This is a great principle in the Torah. And of course it's Rabbi Akiva who says it because they were his Talmidim. They were his students. So he wants to make sure that we all understand the value and the importance of loving your fellow as yourself. So that's the third part of the pasuk that we're all familiar with. The first part of the pasuk, don't take revenge, we're also familiar with. Every child is taught by the parent, don't take revenge when someone hurts you. It's not a good midah, it's not a good thing to do. Lo sitor, do not bear a grudge, is something that I think is not as well known and not as much focused upon as the other two parts of the pasuk. And Rashi explains to us the difference between what we call nekama and netira, revenge and bearing a grudge, in the following way. Let's give this example along the lines of how Rashi explains it. So if I walk over to Ruvain one day and I say, Ruvain, could I please borrow your pen? And Ruvain says, no, you can't borrow my pen. For whatever reason Ruvain has. The next day, Ruvain apparently loses his pen. And he comes over to me and he says, hey, can I please borrow your pen? And I respond to Ruvain and I say, no, you can't borrow my pen. You didn't let me borrow your pen yesterday. I'm not going to let you borrow my pen today. That is what Rashi says. That's what's called nekama. That's what's called revenge. Now, if we continue our example, or we switch it around a little bit, we'll understand what netira is. So if Ruvain comes over to me and says, hey, can I please borrow your pen? And I say, sure, Ruvain, here's my pen. You see, I am such a giving person, unlike you. When you're missing a pen, you ask me and I give you the pen because I'm nice. But yesterday when I didn't have a pen and I asked you, you wouldn't give me your pen. So you see, I'm giving you a pen to show you that I am nicer than you. That, Rashi says, is what's called netira. Netira is bearing a grudge. And both of these, nekama and netira, are revenge and bearing a grudge, are so powerful when it comes to relationships that we have in our lives. Whether it's a superficial relationship, that someone just sees me in shul and says, hey, can I borrow something? And I don't really know them very well, but they're certainly going to judge me based on my reaction. Or whether it's someone that I know, a friend who I may be upset with, or maybe it's even someone I'm closer with than that. Maybe it's actually in a parent-child relationship. Maybe it's in a sibling relationship. Or maybe it's in a spousal relationship, in which we look at how we're going to act to someone else based upon how we've been treated by that person. And if we are constantly looking into the cycle of how we've been treated, instead of stopping the cycle where it is, stopping it from moving, and saying, no, I need to give, and hopefully I'm going to get in response back. I'm not going to continue to cause conflict by just giving only when I receive. Maybe then one can truly be able to find the ahava, the love within the relationship. And maybe that's why this pasuk is together. Because if we don't apply nekama, revenge, to our lives, and we don't apply netira, bearing a grudge, to our lives, when it comes to our most intimate relationships, then we will find ahava, we'll find love, because the root of ahava is hav, to give. So if we're giving, regardless as to whether we were insulted by the fact that we didn't get something, then eventually we're going to receive in return. I think it's very important and very practical that we continue to work on ourselves, not only in terms of how we are seen to the outside world. Obviously, that's what we're most concerned about. But the truth is, what we should be most concerned about is how we're seen in our own homes, how we're seen with our family members, our relatives, our spouses, how we are able to project ourselves in a positive light and be able to give ahava, to give love, not to give of ourselves only if we receive, but to give of ourselves because Hashem tells us that that's what we want. If that's what we wanted for ourselves, then that's what we should be giving. May we be zocheh really to apply this message and indeed continue to grow in all of our relationships. Thank you for listening and have a good Shabbat.